Last night, we watched in front of the world. The Dallas Mavericks, they won an NBA draft lottery, and the Chicago Bulls, our Chicago Bulls, remain at pick number 12 after the lottery. But is the system flawed or are the Chicago Bulls cursed? Is it a little bit of both? Let's talk about it. Y'all know we gonna get right to it, but you gotta hit the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you tuned in with me today, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Man, y'all support has been tremendous, so I just want to personally thank y'all for supporting the channel, man. Can't thank y'all enough. But let's get into the topic, man. Is it the draft lottery flawed, or are the Chicago Bulls just cursed? Let's start off with the flawed system part. Now, we know that the Chicago Bulls, they remain at 12 after having a 1.7% chance to move up and grab that number one pick. And the team that we lost that coin flip to, the Dallas Mavericks, was at 11. And they end up winning the NBA draft lottery. Now, I know that there's going to be some people like, man, the system is completely rigged. How do you trade Luka Doncic? And now you're able to go out there and potentially draft Cooper Flag. And I understand. Those two things have a good correlation between the two to where you be like, hey, it's hard to believe this thing is not rigged, especially when they traded Luka Doncic in the wee hours of the night. And now they are kind of, and what a lot of people believe, they're being rewarded with now Cooper Flag. But hey, it is what it is at this particular moment. My personal view on it is that shit happens. That's just how it is. It doesn't always mean that you're going to get your way. It doesn't always mean that things are going to go in your favor. That's just life. That's how shit works sometimes. And it doesn't guarantee that if the Chicago Bulls win the coin flip with the Dallas Mavericks and get the 11th pick going into the lottery, that the Chicago Bulls would have won the number one overall pick. Now, I know that there's some type of correlation and there's some belief that could have happened. But like I've been saying over the last 12 hours, none of this shit is guaranteed. Even if the Chicago Bulls were 11, y'all will be salty. Not all of you, but some of us will be salty and say, hey, we was at 11 and the Dallas Mavericks are picking at 12. If we would have lost that coin flip, there would have been some people like, we should have lost the coin flip if the Dallas Mavericks still at 12 would have entered the lottery and won the number one overall pick. Some of us would have been saying we should have lost the coin flip. But this is where we are. This is the reality. And I understand that a lot of things going on could appear to be rigged, but hey, that is what it is. But if you want somebody to blame, you blame the Philadelphia 76ers for telling everybody openly and trust the process. It was a time to where we seen them blatantly tanking games to get number one overall pick after number one overall pick after number one overall pick. I believe it happened like 3 seasons in a row. And it was just a slap in the face to all the guys and all the women that support this damn league. So they had to go in there and make them changes. And I'm 100% with it. Put more on it, put more responsibility on the franchises to be better at their damn jobs. If you don't want to go out there and have a shitty team, and you want to go out there and have an opportunity to grab generational talent, sometimes you got to understand that you're just going to miss out on that. But if you go out there and you properly build out your teams, and then if you one day strike gold, now you got a nice young player to come into your team to go out there and do something nice. Like, for instance, how do the Utah Jazz feel? Probably feel like crap. They fell out of the top 4 after tanking multiple seasons in a row. And we somehow supposed to reward that. That's not the way that I believe that it should go. And I know it's going to be some people that's going to compare it to the NFL. This ain't the NFL. This is the NBA. This is how they have their thing set up. Place more responsibility on the Washington Wizards. Place more responsibility on the Charlotte Hornets to go out there and be better. There needs to be some type of balance when it comes to the expectations of the organization to better their franchise and, how lucky you can get in said lottery. So it is what it is. We can look at the system for being flawed. We can say that, hey, the team with the worst record is supposed to get the number one overall pick regardless. It doesn't always work like that. And the reason, and if you're looking for somebody to blame the Philadelphia 76ers for how they disrespected the fan bases and all their sponsors and blatantly just said, we're going to go out and take and trust the process. And what has trust in the process gotten the Philadelphia 76ers? A number of second round exits. So it's blatant disrespect. And I still stand on it to this day. Tanking ain't always the best way to go out there and build your franchise. Put more responsibility on the owners, on the GMs, on the coaches, and some of those players that you bring in your building with your developmental staffs to better your franchise. Now, it does suck to see a team like Dallas go out there and give away Luka. Didn't really get anything back in return that was like really, really good. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Davis is solid, things like that. You would imagine that some more draft capital would have been placed in that. But this is where we are. This is where we are. It's no other way to put it. And I'll be real with you. I'm a little salty about the Dallas Mavericks winning as well because I'm like, damn, how y'all trade Luka and get rewarded with the number one overall pick? But hey, guess what? The logic says shit happens. That's it. There's no point in sitting here saying that the system is rigged, banging on the table and going ape shit simply because that shit is out of our control. This shit is out of our control. That's just what has transpired within the last 12 hours. And it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. That's how you got to move with it. If you want to go out there and hope that the NBA changes the process again, tell teams to stop blatantly trying to lose games. Tell teams to focus on player development. Tell owners to hold themselves accountable to build out better teams. How long have the Utah Jazz been in the dumps? A while now. How long have the Charlotte Hornets been in the dump? A while now. How long have the Washington Wizards been in the dumps? A while now. Take responsibility, make smarter decisions, and maybe, just maybe, you might strike gold. It is a lottery for a reason. And just because the Bulls had 1.7% chance to win that said lottery doesn't mean that it was guaranteed. You have a greater chance of staying at 12 than moving up. And where were the Chicago Bulls? 85% to stay at 12. And they're at 12. That's the reality, which leads into the next point or the next part of the discussion. Are the Chicago Bulls cursed? No, it's a lottery. That's just what it is. It's absolutely what it said it is. It's a lottery. When your mama go up into the gas station, your papa go, your grandpa, your grandma go into the gas station and play them numbers. Do we just supposed to expect just because they ain't hit all year that they suddenly supposed to hit on Easter Sunday? No. The reality is that it's exactly what it lets you know it is. It's a draft lottery. It's the actual Illinois lottery, Indiana lottery, Ohio lottery, whatever state you in, the Georgia lottery. It's that. You get a chance. There's always a chance, but then nothing is guaranteed. So for my people that's going out there saying that the Chicago Bulls are cursed, no, they're not. This is where they are. They made their decisions. They made their decisions to not go out there and massively increase their odds to move up into this draft. They pretty much let us all know we're not tanking games. We're going to go out there and compete, even though some can throw in, hey, they did punt that Cleveland game towards the end of the season. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. They made their decisions. And if for my people that's going out there and trying to blame Josh Giddey game winner versus the Lakers, I don't give a damn. Screw you. That's one game. And I'm taking a win. I'm taking a win. That was really, really exciting basketball to watch for those last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of that game with an amazing ending for the sake of the team. Shit. You can call me crazy. You can call me a lunatic. It does not matter. I'm taking the win. Because if you lose that game and you end up at 11, again, with the coin flip, it doesn't necessarily mean the Chicago Bulls was getting number one. We did like that feeling. We did like that anticipation for our Chicago Bulls to potentially move up. We did. But that would come with playing the lottery. You go in and you get you a scratch off, you spend $1 and you suddenly win $200 off the scratch off. Do you expect yourself to win $200 the very next time that you go and get $1 scratch off? No. You give yourself a chance. And that's what the Chicago Bulls did here, just like every other team that entered this draft lottery has done. And there is still somebody that you can find for the Chicago Bulls to help push this thing forward. The Chicago Bulls seem keen on Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and Montes Buzelis moving forward. And they have placed the emphasis of we need to go out there and continue to find a young player. We want to go out here in this offseason when free agency happens to find another piece that we can add to this team. That's the plan. I don't know why we always trying to talk ourselves into believing that the Chicago Bulls are suddenly going to do what we want when they keep telling us what they want to do. It's the same thing for my tankers. How y'all feeling this morning? I just want to know. Go and lose as many games as possible is what I heard all season long. How do the Utah Jazz feel today? For my pro tankers. That's the whole point. Tanking doesn't guarantee that you will get the number 1 overall pick. Now, if you say, okay, cool. Now, if you have a rebuttal and say, hey, tanking does give me a top 5 talent, though. Okay, fair. But did we forget where the Chicago Bulls selected Patrick Williams? How does that top 5 talent look? I'm just saying. And I'm sure he probably wasn't that high on a lot of people's list, but how does that top 5 talent look? There are no guarantees when you select players, bro. It's the same way you go into the lottery. It's the same way you go into the draft. You don't necessarily know who's going to turn into what if the infrastructure around that player is not really that damn good. Just calling it how I see it. But the thing is that it's okay, guys. It's okay to accept that we're at 12 where we were projected to go as the Chicago Bulls. It's okay. We didn't move up. We knew that the Chicago Bulls had a greater chance at staying at 12 than getting number 1. It's okay. But now let's move forward. How do we move forward? We focus on who's going to potentially be available for the Chicago Bulls and hope and pray and write it all down that the front office for the Chicago Bulls select the right player at 12 and surround that young player with enough assets and enough coaching and solid stability to where this young player can pan out for us. That's what we get. That's how we move forward. It's okay. The system, it's not the greatest system, but to blame the whole system on the Chicago Bulls being cursed, look, it's a bit over. It's a bit over the top for me, but it's okay. Focus on the next bunch of players that are going to be available to the Chicago Bulls and hope that the next player that comes into the city of Chicago can be a player that we can build with for years and years to come. They're not completely out of the building process. If you're the Chicago Bulls, you're not completely out of that. Who's to say Ace Bailey is going to be like that? Who's to say that Dylan Harper is going to be like that? I know that they have a lot of talent coming into this league. I do. But I've seen a lot of players come into this league with a lot of talent and not necessarily pan out either. I think their chances are very, very high. Like, don't get it messed up. I think their chances are very, very high of being really good NBA players. And it's unfair for people to go out there and say he's going to be the next superstar. He's going to be the next generational talent. He's going to be the next this, that, and third. Allow these young guys to come into this league and show what they're made of. That's okay. That's okay too. And it could be very well some guys that are picked at 12, that are picked at 15, that are picked at 20, that might be better than some of the guys that got picked in the top 5. That's a reality too. How good is Tyrese Halliburton? He was picked after Patrick Williams. How good is Tyrese Maxey? Those type of players still exist as long as the infrastructure behind those players is solid. Now we gotta see, hey, the Bulls, we ain't perfect. We got our issues as well. But the whole point is, let's see what happens. It's no point of just overreacting and saying, if the Chicago Bulls would have lost this game, we would have automatically been 11. Stop being ridiculous. Let's be for real with this. My man's Hayes said it best. Shout out to my brother. Sports is a man's soap opera. Now, how dramatic you want that soap opera to be, that's on you. This one is cool, calm, and collective on today's episode because I'm looking at the nonsense and I'm like, bro, the system has been the system for multiple years. It's okay. Bro, I'm looking at the Chicago Bulls. You could say we cursed. It's okay. This is where we are, though. Let's move forward. It's time to focus on the players that the Chicago Bulls can potentially bring into this. Just wanted to go out there, talk about some of the nonsense that we've been seeing, but also try to bring some logic into the discussion that, number one, if the Bulls win the coin flip with the Mavericks, it still doesn't guarantee that we was getting that first pick. And then number two, if you blame the system for being flawed or rigged, blame the Philadelphia 76ers. Because now I'm seeing that the Chicago Bulls ain't got nobody to blame but themselves. What? They knew we was picking at 12. What is there to feel sorry for that you didn't move up? It's okay to be a little salty, but to bang the table and go ape shit because you didn't get the number one and somebody of the first slot ahead of you, they got the number one pick. It's okay to be salty. But we knew the chances of 85% is much higher than 1.7%. Did we somehow forget math? But it's okay. So let's move forward. From here, we're going to be moving on into the player prospects. We're going to be breaking some things down, having those discussions to see who is the best player available for the Chicago Bulls. And that's what we're going to talk about over here on Shy Bulls Podcast. We're not going to sit here and pound the table and, you know what I'm saying, constantly say the same and regurgitate the same shit. It ain't going to, it's not, look, be salty. It's okay. We'll wash it all off, come back tomorrow, and let's talk about moving forward. Because that's all we got right now is to move forward. It's over. The Mavs won it. It's no point in constantly harping on it. But thank y'all for listening to today's episode because that is it for me. I appreciate y'all, man. Go ahead and drop your comments and everything down below. Hopefully, I was able to bring a little bit of logic to the discussion. But let me hear how you feeling about the discussion. Go ahead and leave your comments and thoughts down below. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. And y'all already know, make sure you always see red. And y'all know, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.